Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Faustine Chan. I'm the Business Innovation Manager for BBB serving the Pacific Southwest. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar on the Main Street Matters grant. We've been holding daily webinars with different themes throughout the week. Just to help our businesses with useful tools right now and just give them education and a virtual content. So this webinar is being recorded. So if you do need to leave or if you miss any part of it, you need to review the information. It will be posted in 1 to 2 business days on events.bbcommunity.org. You can also sign up for additional daily webinars we have and also review past recorded webinars that we have posted on that site as well. If you do have questions throughout this webinar, please make sure you type them in the chat option or the Q&A and we can answer those. Today we have our one and only great speaker. We have Luke Amargo. He is our Entrepreneur Program Manager at our BBB serving the Pacific Southwest. He's been a talent advisor for the Center for Future of Arizona. He's a former adjunct and honors manager at Grand Canyon University. He's also a YNPN board member, and he's also had an MS in Industrial Organization Psychology with honors in BA in Literature. So please welcome today's speaker, Luke Amargo.
Hello, everyone. By the way, if anyone has been on any other webinar, the most consistent individual we've had has been Faustine. She's had to manage a lot of speakers, and with that, of course, you get the egos. She has to deal with a big ego like mine, being patient up until this point. But Faustine has been incredible during this time, and I want to thank everyone for showing up to this. Can we just start in the beginning with just breathing, right? Like everyone just take a deep breath in. I'm going to move my mic. Just let it out. I used to hate this stuff, but then I realized as I got older and my gray hair started forming that that's the best way for me to combat the stress happening in my life. But I want to thank you all for coming. You know, this is a very interesting time we live in, and we wanted to thank our sponsors. I know it's on the branding all over the websites and everything, and when you've been emailed about this opportunity, but Desert Financial and Optima Tax Relief, and also the individual donors. We have some people in this chat who've individually donated, BBB employees who really stuck their necks out for the community and the economy. As someone who grew up in San Diego and lives in Phoenix now, I really have to say it felt like a cosmic serendipity that I got to serve in an amazing organization that allowed me to serve my hometown and my new hometown. People think I'm a double dipper, but I don't mind. So thank you for joining. Let's get into the meat of it. So Main Street Matters 2020. I originally just put Main Street Matters, but our hope is in the future, should this be a very popular program, should we continue to get sponsorship to build out this program even more so? So maybe this will be going to 2050, right? BBB's been around for 100 plus years. We've been through 9/11, the dot-com bubble. We've been through other pandemics, right? And the reality is that BBB has stood the test of time. For one, because I think we're an awesome organization, but because of businesses, organizations like you. For those of you who don't know, we are a nonprofit. We are a trade association. We're the largest trade association in Arizona, you know, and the big vision of Better Business Bureau, if you're ever interested, look at the etymology of our logo, but I digress. So this is the English major in me. This is a quote from Emily Dickinson, and thanks to poets.org, this is a public domain poem. We never know how high we are till we are called to rise. My pops, who was an airman and an ER nurse, said, this is our time. This is your time to rise to the occasion. He used to say that a lot, rise to the occasion. And then if we are true to the plan, our statures touch the skies. A little corny, but bear with me. The heroism we recite would be a daily thing. Did we not ourselves, the cubit swap for fear to be a king? So I think this is an opportunity for everyone to really push and to arise to the occasion, to show off who not only they are, but who their company is. So this is one of our the key quotes from that poem. We never know how high we're tall till we are called to rise. This is our opportunity to rise to the occasion. And this is BBB rising to the occasion. one of the things that we have to be is we have a lot of people applying. We have hundreds of people applying, and we have to be rather utilitarian. So we're going to do our best to serve everyone as we go deeper in. So this is really your story about determination. You have the ability to acclimate to these changes, and a lot of the business owners here, they've been through a lot worse. So we're super stoked that you are here with us and journeying with Better Business Bureau during this time. But what does Main Street Matter? What do we do? So one of the things that we really wanted to focus on is that we wanted to provide our businesses not just to survive during this economy, but hopefully to thrive. And for a lot of you, that might be asking a lot, but we know that you can do it. While we've been working on providing a lot of educational value, for one, we have an incubator, and another thing, Faustein's webinars, and a lot of the resources our team's been sending out, including other opportunities during this COVID crisis. We wanted to take it, in the words of my team, one step further. And so we wanted to offer this as really an opportunity for people to dive in deeper, to really show who they are. And we want to make sure that we could honor you during this time. So who is this Main Street Matters grant for? So we are expecting that these individuals are ethical businesses. You do not have to be an accredited business. I'll go into that in a bit. But we want to make sure that you have not had any SBA funding. That includes PPP. And you also have to be serviced within the BBB Pacific Southwest territory. As you go through the application, you'll be able to see a little bit of the details as you go through it, and you'll be automatically rejected from the form if you're not in the certain service areas as well. But we'll be going into that in a bit. So this is a quick disclaimer. This is our first time we're running this program, and I believe we've been doing an excellent job considering. But as things come through the docket, and we have a flurry of applications, I will do my best to really reveal what we can reveal to you without breaking any local or federal laws, but more importantly, to make sure that the application is fair. So a lot of the stuff I might talk about could be my opinion, but at the core of it, it is up to you to really provide the right information, to read through the application and make sure that you read the legal jargon and talk to anyone that you might need to, whether it's us or a legal counsel as you read through it. But at the core of it, that's just my quick disclaimer. We're doing our best, and some of the stuff, of course, is subject to change. So you could go through this application with me if you're available. So go to mainstreetmatters.bbcommunity.org and really look through and read through the verbiage as you load the website. I'll redirect you, and right here is the Apply Now section. Then we'll give you some background on what we're doing, and you can even read about some of our donors. If you know any other companies are interested in donating, please let us know. All right, so you're going to click the Apply Now. It's going to take you to this Main Street Matters type form as well. If for some reason you need accommodations, at the very end, I'll be sending you my contact information, or you could contact us at innovation@bbbcommunity.org. So we understand that maybe your computer's a little iffy. Some people might have accommodations due to eyesight. Don't want to make any assumptions here in the chat, but we want you to know that we're willing to work with you if you're having any issues. I know I've been getting phone calls about the application. Personally, my number is on the site as well. So, Main Street Matters, we are here to serve you. This grant is intended for ethical businesses that are integral to your local communities. So, as you go through this, I want you to have your tax documents from 2019. And if you don't have 2019, you can refer to your 2018 tax documents. We want your closest up-to-date information as you have. And on top of that, we want your EIN. So your tax document should have your EIN on it as well, but some people have it on file. But have your tax documents, have an idea of your employee count, also your accredited business, if you're an accredited business, if you happen to be in good standing with the BBB. But we'll go through this as we go in. So we have a video here. I won't play it for y'all right now, but please watch this before you apply. And a little quick tip is you have the ability to go in and out of the application. So you could flow in and out like this and see and review everything. So an example, say you really wanted to get an idea of the essay prompts, right? You could, in theory, as long as you don't submit it, you could go through it and just keep going to the very end and read the prompts. But if you watch the video, it's going to feature your information, feature information about the prompts more importantly. All right, so that's me getting ahead of myself. As a reminder, if you refresh the page, your information is not stored till it's submitted. And even if it's submitted, it won't be saved on the certain web page. So that's just a long-winded way for me to say don't press back and don't refresh. In fact, we recommend for you to have a separate word processor on the side as you go through the application, and then write down your answers there and then toss it in. So in examples, you could have a Grammarly, their word processor, Google Docs, or Microsoft, and then you just have it loaded, and then you could write your responses there, then paste it in. You could write it in the forum, but say one of your toddlers comes in and just wipes everything you're doing, that could be a lot of work. So that is just a quick FYI. So as a reminder, you could go through this application with me. You don't have to submit it right now, but check it out. So you want to make sure you read this. So we want to make sure that you're headquartered in places that the Better Business Bureau serving the Pacific Southwest is servicing. You must be in business at least 6 months prior to the date the application is submitted. So a lot of the fresh companies that just started, we have based this a lot of things we've been doing with good practice with BBB, so there is a rhyme and reason for this as well. So another thing, of course, at this time, franchisees, nonprofits, and independent contractors are not eligible. We had a couple people reach out for us, but one of the things that would help us a lot is if they read this section. All right, so we want to make sure that they are good standing with BBB. Now, this is different than being accredited. A business in good standing follows the BBB code of practices, whether or not BBB accredited. So you can go to bbb.org, and you should have some idea of your BBB accreditation and your good standing. You can be related to BBB employees, so that's a big one. And then you have not received any emerging funding loan award. For example is the SBA loans. That's the biggest way to put it. Or previously, say you get awarded this grant, then we wouldn't want you to, of course, jump on it again and take more money from it. So another thing is that only one application will be accepted per qualifying small business per funding round. Affiliates, subsidiaries, or other related businesses may not also submit an application within the same round. So there might be some people who might be tempted to game the system. Just know we are cognizant of that, and we do not accept that. So let me see. Each qualifying small business may submit an application for a single geographical area only. The first application you submit will bar any future applications, even if your business moves or otherwise finishes to be considered a different geographical area. So applications will be reviewed within a specified funding round based on the date of the submission. As groups of applications are reviewed and grants awarded, unsuccessful applicants may apply for subsequent funding rounds. So this is actually a big deal. A lot of grant programs, you only have one opportunity to submit. We are giving opportunities for people to have a second chance. Also, prior to submitting initial applications, applicants must specify his or her request to have applications reconsidered on a rolling basis, with the understanding that if they make this request, they may be asked to provide additional business information prior to the application being considered in subsequent rounds. So grants will be awarded to the limit of our designated funding. Once these funds have been distributed, we will not be funding or reviewing any additional applications, even if submitted before the funding was exhausted. And then we talk about reviewing here, and then we also may ask for a W-9. They will submit a W-9 form before payment can be issued. And then, of course, number 14 right here is that we would love to showcase a lot of those who received the grant as well. We'd love to really show, hey, this is an amazing ethical business that received our grant. And like I said in the beginning, as a disclaimer, Things are subject to change based on the needs of our applicants, but be sure to read through this. We really appreciate those who have read this. It has helped us a lot with our email communications. All right, so eligibility. So this is me going through the application. So have you or an affiliate business entity, subsidiary, family member, or partner submitted another application? And then you press no. Of course, I answer this aptly. And if you notice, when you see the word submit, that is a sign that it's going to reject you from the application. But of course, answer honestly. But say you worked a lot on your application and then you submit too early, just be cognizant of that. So you're going to enter the number of years you've been in business. So I'm going to use a fake company based on a startup I used to be part of. And then you want to clarify if you have received funding or not through the SBA. And then you want to clarify if some entity connected to you has been receiving any disaster relief. Then we'll put storage, Luke LLC. And Faustine, if we have any questions, if I'm missing any, just let me know. So the DBA right here, sometimes people forget to put the LLC here. So, storage. Actually, that's a better name. Luke's Storage LLC. And then some people forget to put the LLC thing, so we just want them to clarify that it's an LLC. Please provide your full legal name.
So Luke, there was a question from Evelyn. She asked, are there any other grants available for BBB small businesses? We did get the PPP loan, but it wasn't nearly what we requested. Instead of covering 3 months of payroll of help, we only received enough for 1 month.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So we are cognizant of other grants, and we base this off people who have not received funding from other sources. So that is a great question. I'm not sure if it relates to anyone else, but Evelyn, what we'll do is I'll connect with you individually and send you some resources that we're cognizant of from a team level. Faustine, do you mind typing in my email in the chat for her?
Yes, I will do that.
Thank you so much. So you're going to type in your phone number. That's a great question. A lot of the grants, oh yes, so they know that's my, sorry, that's the fake number that they use in television. It's funny, Typeform's very cognizant of it. Oh, okay, got it. I'll just use mine. And then you're going to supply your EIN. We've had some concern that some people might be tossing in their social security. Please do not toss in your social security number here. So you're going to type in your EIN, example number over here. And then you want to identify what state you're in. If you're not in Arizona or California, we cannot service you. And I'm going to put San Diego. So this information, a lot of people have been confused about, but please enter your business's 2019 gross revenue as listed on your 2019 tax document. So refer back to your tax documents. This will help you go through the application. Then you're going to type in your number. Please note, decimals are not allowed, so you just round to whatever it is. Yeah, we want to be cognizant of how many months of operating capital do you have on hand. I think that's a great way for us to do metrics in the background, so we could even service you in other ways. So this is full-time. I'm going to walk you through this section here. So we got full-time employees. We're going to ask you how many full-time employees you have, how many part-time, and also how many independent contractors you have as well. A lot of other applications do not consider independent contractors workers, but we wanted to be cognizant of them as well. This is actually really good for us to know. So I'm going to put, okay, we got 2 full-timers right here, 3 part-timers, and then I have 10. And then click everything here that has applied and impacted your business. Have you had to lay someone off? Furlough anyone? In my company, say I had to furlough someone, I had to reduce my own salary, and I could even put, had to change the name of business for branding purposes, something like that, right? That is really your opportunity to tell us what is going on with your business and how it really applies to why you are applying. All right, so are you open to or in need of anything following services for your business? So we just want to know, this will help us as we provide even webinars and future programming through BBB. So this is when you're going to go to bbb.org or talk to your manager who manages your BBB concerns, or a lot of the questions that come in through BBB. Just, are you currently a BBB accredited business? Then you're going to type it in, plug it in. Are you in good standing? Here's a link for more information in regards to that. So I'm in good standing because I double checked on the website. So right here, this is where I really recommend, if you haven't started doing it already, having a word processor like Grammarly or Microsoft Word or Google Docs loaded. So you have the ability to type in really what concerns you about your business. So briefly introduce your company, who you are. Be sure to tell us who you are, what your services, your products, what you provide, why you're applying, why your company should receive this grant. So it's a very general question, but we also would love you to record a video. So I'm going to give you some hot tips in a bit about how to prep for the application. So type in the URL. So you could upload it to YouTube, Google Drive, Dropbox. I saw some people put their website, iCloud, plug it in. This is something that you could start mentally planning for right now. And we do not need you to make the Steven Spielberg levels of perfection. We want you to just have your voice and see who you are and see your passion. We've had some things as simple as a cell phone recording or people using their webcam. We just really appreciate people who go the extra mile in this regard. So once you get it in, you just simply input your YouTube link. And quick tip, copy paste it, and then you also have the ability on YouTube and other video uploaders or even Dropbox to make it unlisted. So other people who can't Google for it, they have to have this specific YouTube link for it. So that's an opportunity for you. If not, you can ask someone who works with YouTube, maybe one of your nieces and nephews, or one of the kids who are very technologically apt. We also have, just for our sanity, you could input the video here as well. That allows us to go through your application with ease to make sure that it's not getting lost in any text. We have some people actually write everything out, then put the YouTube video there. So we want to have another opportunity where we could see the video link. A little too much information for you, but it just helps us out in the back end. So we here, be specific and explain how the COVID-19 crisis has impacted your business. I'm going to go into some hot tips about this in a bit, but be specific. Tell a story through the stats. A lot of people, they might be tempted just to pull stats from a news website, and that's great. But how has it affected your type of business, right? How has it affected, what you've been offering to even your employees, right? So really think about this question and try to go beyond the general. There'll be more tips about this in a bit. Please describe your company's community involvement / impact, being sure to include specific examples if possible. This can be both pre-COVID-19 and currently. So we know some companies that are making masks during this COVID-19 crisis. That's just an example of a company who during this time has risen to the occasion to go above and beyond to serve the local population. But we know some companies who used to be more hands-on, who used to volunteer at events, and we want to be aware of what you did pre and during COVID. How have you impacted this community? Or we really want to highlight people who gone above and beyond now and back then. And we recognize that there's some companies whose volunteer efforts, they may not be able to do it as much, specifically if it was in-person events. So we wanted to keep both lanes lanes there as well. And there's a lot of ways people could spin what they're doing, but I'll touch on that in a bit. But really tell us, hey, how have you impacted the community? What has been your business impact? And this is another thing is, does your business have any negative press? So obviously, if you've been in business for years, or even, oh my goodness, even just a year, and you're being relatively successful, you're going to have some negative reviews, right? But we want to be cognizant of if there's any patterns and anything that has been possibly in the news that we should be aware of. And with this, of course, it's not an automatic disqualifier. In fact, we appreciate anyone's forthrightness in this regard, but we want to see if there's any patterns and if there's anything that you are currently doing to address this. There's a lot of rationale for this, but we appreciate people and their honesty. And we have some people reviewing the application. With that, of course, possibly even having to go dive in deeper. So if you come up initially and tell us about any negative press, that could save us some heartache. So we really appreciate anyone who actually does this honestly. And then please identify how your business intends to use the grant fund. So I know we've had some check boxes that will kind of put you in a psyche of, hey, maybe these are some things, that affected my business, right? But identify with us and how you intend to use the grant funds. Be specific. More on that in a bit. So this is your opportunity. Some people have tossed in thank yous. Other individuals have tossed in, some things that may have not been covered in the application. The application is pretty intensive, but toss in anything and any other information that you believe is relevant for us to be aware of. And if we are unable to fund your business with a grant this month, would you like to be reconsidered on a rolling basis utilizing this application? And please note, if your application is rolled over, you may be asked to provide additional information regarding your business. So I wouldn't expect a lot of people to say no, but you can just simply press yes. And once you do, when you press submit, if there's anything you missed, it will clarify that you've missed it. And you just simply type in that information. So once you have completely filled out the application and you're able to finally press submit, the nifty thing is you will get an email notification. It's going to be from Typeform, but it's going to have some BBB verbiage. So be sure to check your spam to make sure that the application has gone through. And as a reminder, and this is very pertinent with your phone number and specifically your email address, make sure that email address is accurate. I can't tell you how many applications I've done, not for this program, but just in general, where someone has not inputted their email address correctly and they're waiting to hear back, and the reason why is because they didn't input their information correctly. So you will receive what I like to call an email receipt that will clarify that your application has gone through. Some people have emailed us saying, hey, has my application gone through? But we recommend look out for that receipt, look at your spam box, and be sure to check that out. All right, so I'm going to jump back to the presentation. All right, so as you work on collecting your documents for the application, we believe that you could complete this in 15 to 20 minutes. So have your EIN and your tax documents prepared. Pre-record and pre-upload your video. Have your geographical location. I think this is kind of obvious, but know which of the BBB serving the Pacific Southwest locations you're located in. Have your gross revenue. Include your employee count, including 1099 and contract workers. Be aware of any negative review/press. As a reminder, this is not a disqualifier. Preview and review the application, and be aware of your BBB relationship, whether you're in good standing and accredited or just in good standing. Just look on the website. So here's some hot tips about the application. Think of every statistic you can, right? But think of the stats in your in your business. Like, how many people have you served a year? How much people have gone in and utilized your business? Make your stats come alive. But I want you just to brainstorm right now and think of the statistics and the numbers of people who've actually utilized your product. We do not just care about stats, we care about what those stats mean. But this will help those individuals who kind of struggle with, oh, I don't know what to talk about. What I can recommend, if you have a great customer or a great partner in crime, ask them, hey, what are some stats? What are some things that we've done? And so I'm putting some numbers behind that. This is just some advice for any application, but you want to back up what you're doing with numbers. So this advice applies more than just our application. So beyond the stats, I want you to also think of, oh, forgive me, my video camera is in the way. Write down every stat you could think of, yes, but also think of the stories and good reviews that you could think of. So as you go through everything here, right, I want you to think, oh my goodness, these are some stats, the number of people we serviced. This is even numbers about how successful we've been pre-COVID. I want you to think of also the stories that have come through everything. So there's this quote that's been misattributed, but one death is a tragedy, 1 million is a statistic, right? So you could just throw numbers our way, but how do those numbers come alive? Is you could individualize it. Tell us about maybe a consumer who came in, going through your business, and oh my goodness, like this company really meant a lot to me. Think of other good reviews, maybe even quote them. And we want you to tell a story and use those statistics and facts to back you up. So say you say, I'm a hardworking business. That's great. But what you could say is, hey, we've been here for 40 years. We're a family-owned business. I'm hoping that my kid is able to take my business over. And we've serviced over 100 people. That tells me a lot more than say, hey, we've been around for a while and we really want your money, right? Tell a story. Use the stats as kind of a fulcrum for that storytelling. So here's a tip on how to use contrast in your application, right? So this is just for any application, any grant program in general. I used to have to work with scholarships, talking about contrast, right? So this is where my business started. This is where my business has ended up, right? We started humbly. We worked really hard to get here. Tell a story through contrast. We started in the classic Amazon story. We started in a garage, right? But now we're servicing, and we have over 100 employees. We service every single county that BBB serving the Pacific Southwest services. You could show your story from, hey, this is where I started, this is where I am. And even during COVID, we're challenged, but we believe that we could show off who we are from who we've been. So utilize contrast in your application to really make your business come alive. So this is a tip for resumes. We call it the STAR method. Talk about a situation, what you're tasked with, your action, and the results from it. So with the application, take this with a grain of salt, because I don't think everyone has to follow this verbatim. But think of a situation your business has been in, the task of it, how you reacted to it, or maybe even were proactive in it, and then the results of it. So you could toss in stats during the results section, and during the situation of your task, you could talk about possibly the story in it. And during the action, you could talk about how you handled this, maybe ethically, maybe how it really embodied Main Street. So just look at that and see some opportunities for you to really engage with this. This is just a piece of advice for just any application, but think of a situation where you're tasked with your action and the results that came from it, the awesome results. So showcase how you embody what the application stands for. The themes, the missions, the prompts. I really want you to think of how you embody what Main Street is doing. So there's a lot of ways to do that, but one of the best pieces of advice I could give you is as you are applying right before, look at the website, the microsite we created for this. You'll be able to see the tone and the verbiage and the things that we value and why we created this. Kimberly, who's on this, has been incredible. She has really created and drafted text that really describes our heart and also our donors' hearts for why we're doing this. So think of the themes, the missions, what we're prompting you. What are we really asking for? How you embody the question or embody what Main Street is. And this is a really clerical thing, but you can utilize Grammarly, Ginger, and Microsoft Spell Check. If you're using a separate word processor, just toss it in. We recommend having a buddy come in and read it real quick, but don't overthink it. We're not going to be too critical of your grammar. I know y'all can be patient with my syntax and how I grammatically say things wrong, but we just want you to be aware that if you do have time, toss in a word processor to double check your spelling and everything. But that's just a piece of tip, a little tip for any application you have. And tip number 7 is just breathe, right? I'm not sure if any of you feels that manic energy, but I want to remind you that as you go through this, you've been through a lot worse as a company. Possibly this might be the worst thing you ever faced, but we know that our businesses are made through sterner stuff. And we sincerely want you to also take care of yourself. We care about your company. We also care about the people who run your company, about your employees. Take a breather. If you get overwhelmed, maybe just open up a soda, meditate for a little bit. Really breathe as you go through the application. It's a pretty simple application, in my opinion, compared to a lot of their grant processes my company has been through, my organization has been through. But breathe through as you go through the application. Take your time, but don't overthink it. So we wanted to thank you for your time, and I know I see a question coming in. And this is our contact information. So you got Luke Amargo at bbbcommunity.org, innovation at bbbcommunity.org, and that's also my phone number there as well. Also, this is the URL mainstreetmatters.bbbcommunity.org. Main, and make sure you pay attention to stmatters.bbbcommunity.org. So thank you so much. Well, Faustina, do you mind taking me away with some questions?
Yes, so we have Peggy who asks, will the long list of qualifications be listed on the website, or will people have to go through the video, or is it they have to go through the application as well?
Yeah, so you're able to preview through the application using the arrows on the bottom. Sometimes you'll have to input a little bit of data. So if you watch the video in the beginning, it will give you a lot of information about the application, including some of the prompts. Kimberly wrote something in the chat. I'm sure you're reading it. If you have a hard time remembering, you can also just type in mainstreetmatters.org. Oh, also we bought that domain name. But yeah, so the list of qualifications will be listed in the beginning as well. Watch the video; that'll probably give you the best rundown. But be sure to read through the legal jargon in the beginning. Yeah, and as a reminder, Kimberly typed this in. You could just go to mainstreetmatters.org as well. Awesome. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, if you have any questions, just go ahead and type them in the chat option or the Q&A, and Luke can answer them. Looks like there's a question from Steven. He asks, if he forgets to submit the video, what does he do? What are the next steps?
So we are hoping that you get all your information in the application just to make sure that its entirety is right on our back end. That's just a long-winded way to say it's easier if you put it in the beginning. But in the rare case you forget, please just email me or innovation@bbbcommunity.org or your BBB. Sorry. Just email me at luke.margo@bbcommunity.org. Make sure that you have identifiers such as your business and your name and your email that match the application. Then I'll be able to input your YouTube URL or whatever URL you have in the back end. So it'll go inside our sheet that we're managing everything with. So if you forget, just let me know and I'll toss it in. So we got something from Peggy. Hello, Peggy. We're doing well. This training video is very helpful. Thank you. How soon will this video recording be made available on the website? Fossey's been pretty fast with uploading all this.
Yes, so it should be available either Monday afternoon or Tuesday the latest. So we just have to brand it. So it will be posted on events.bbcommunity.org, and I will also send a link once it's posted to all attendees as well. So great question.
Thank you. So I have a question for everyone who's still in the chat. Did anyone go through it with me as I was speaking? Has anyone already applied? I'd love to know. Shoot it in the chat and any other questions. Hopefully it's a good sign we were able to answer everything. Awesome. So Vrinda, feel free to shoot a video over to me and I'll be able to input in the back end and I'll respond once it's been inputted.
Looks like we have another question from Jamie.
Okay.
How will businesses be informed or notified if they are awarded the grant? Is it by telephone or should I look in my email?
So currently the plan, and of course this is subject to change, but I don't predict it changing. We do plan on calling and also sending an email out as well. So you should receive both forms of communication. So that's why I was talking about how you want to make sure that your phone number is accurately inputted, including your email. So you should receive two fronts of communication in that regard.
Thank you, Luke. Let's see. We'll look through, see if anyone else has any other questions regarding the application or the process. Please type them in the chat option. Looks like we don't have any more, but looks like you did a great job, Luke. But,
I hope so.
if you do have any questions, please do reach out to us. We are more than happy to walk you through the application and give you the guidance that you need to help answer any questions that you have regarding it. Thank you again, Luke, for taking time out of your busy day to give us this valuable information regarding this grant, helping businesses go through the application and answer any questions that they have. I know it's super helpful, especially for those of us, this is a big process and something really big that they're applying for. So thank you for taking time out of your day to present. This webinar was recorded, so like I mentioned before with the question, it will be posted 1 to 2 business days on events.bbcommunity.org. So thank you everyone for attending today. Please stay safe out there and please be healthy.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.